Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in today once again on a great viewer question, and that is to better understand the emotional manipulation tactics, particularly that of regressive tactics, babying, infantilizing you, regressing you, or keeping you at a childlike or disempowered state, and how this can become very hazardous, actually very dangerous, when you are being emotionally manipulated to be made in a regressed state. And by regressed state, we mean where you are not empowered, where you are not in clear thinking mode, where you are not in adult mature mode, really in the development stage which you have potential to be. And to be responsible is to be free. You know, freedom is not just being in a dependent state or a codependent state. Some people think, oh, well, if I could just, ride on the coattails of so-and-so, my life would be made in the shade. Oftentimes that is actually not the case, because, he who, calls the shots will hold the key to the kingdom. They'll hold the key to your heart. You slowly over time lose or erode control over your happiness to this individual. And then you begin living in the dichotomy of, I cannot be responsible. I cannot make myself happy. I am responsible to this individual. This person makes me happy. And then you give up control to this individual. And what do we really mean by regressive? When they call you by baby names, or keeping you in a sort of childlike stage or of living. And this can be calling you by little nicknames like, you're just a little that, you're a little this, you're just a little boy, aren't you? You're just a little girl. Come to mama, come to papa. And they slowly, over time, begin to sort of really infantilize those who they control with this manner. And when you begin to interpret this stage as love, as nurturing, this can be very dangerous, because it's taking away your maturity and your God-given right to pursue that which makes you responsible, accountable, and independent. Being dependent on another can be very regressive, meaning it is holding you back from becoming the empowered adult that you have the potential to become, and oftentimes a awakening of desire to become. When we talk about relationships, there's an interdependence, but largely there has to be an internal foundation of self-reliance, self-governing, autonomy. And then to move through your developmental stages within your own personality development, and to do this freely. So those narcissists who are going to hold you back are going to be the ones who take the driver's seat. They take over basically the helm of your car. Basically, they take over the helm of your life. They want to call the shots. They want to make all the decisions. They want to talk for the majority of the conversation. They do not want your feedback. They might minimize your feedback. There's crushing blows through, as we're discussing in previous videos, the jokes that are made about you. You are weak, or you're meek, or, you'll never amount to anything, or, the insinuation of such. And as we're saying before, there is a disproportionate reaction to strides that you try to make, oftentimes which are met when you are trying to, i.e., move forward in your life, make decisions, call the shots. Why don't we go to this restaurant? I need to do this. I would like to see this. I would like to have that. Where they, then begin to shut you down. And then the disproportionate anger or rage or overreaction. So the word I was looking for yesterday, and I stumbled upon it, is disproportionate. So their reaction is disproportionate to the event at hand, meaning that they tend to overreact and keep you, with lips sealed. They tend to become very rageful to keep you from acting. In other words, you will, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire. It's just explosive. You can't do anything about it. So these actually can become quite regressive or infantilizing states where you're made to be little, you're made to be meek, you're making yourself smaller, you're making your less of your input. So it's really, when we look at studies that have done on comprehension, when you discuss things like how's your day, or how is that book, or tell me about this, people tend to have better comprehension when they are able to discuss it or know that they are going to be required or held accountable to discuss. So for example, that's why there are a lot of book study groups, because your retention is stronger after you read a book knowing that you are going to discuss it. In other words, knowing that you might want to pull out something of interest to you, you might want to bring up to the group, and then by engaging in this discussion and talk, you grow, your neurology strengthens, your sense of responsibility strengthens, your vocabulary strengthens, your comprehension improves when you are in that discussion mode. So if you are in that infantilized situation, basically you are going backwards. You are becoming deconditioned. That's a very important word. When you are deconditioned, that can be a term that's used for muscles that are caused to atrophy, like for people who become sick and they're not using their muscles, they become deconditioned very rapidly. In other words, as we get older, we do need to exercise to maintain what we have. So the muscles will begin to atrophy, which means sort of, become less toned. They will begin to atrophy. They will begin to lose their shape. They'll lose their strength. And the mind is very much the same way. If you do not use or exercise it or begin, and make those connections on a daily basis, you will atrophy. So it's really a very similar experience where there's like an atrophy of the ego, an atrophy of the soul. It becomes very, very stale. You feel that, things are going nowhere, or you're just, if you look at the percentage of your day, there's a growing number of unhappiness. So you really need to look at that as, yes, in some love relationships, there is that goo goo gaga, cuckoo, love, kitschiness, so to speak. But when there is a high preponderance of this and it makes you uncomfortable, in other words, they are calling you baby names, nicknames, not treating you like you have an intellect, like you have a right, like that you don't have, an input that you are then allowed to freely express. So it becomes the use it or lose it scenario, and you begin to atrophy or feel disengaged, disempowered as a person. So be very, very careful of these manipulation techniques. You do not want to be around for any degree of time those people who are going to infantilize you, minimize you, really sort of talk down, make you really in the passenger seat for too long. You don't want to be too passive, because it creates a trauma bond, which can be one of dependence. And we're talking about physical dependence, financial dependence, where you don't have your own income, credit, access to your own assets. This can become very dangerous, because then unbeknownst to you, gradually over time, you become inextricably bonded or held down by this type of person. And then that's why it's very difficult, and you'll oftentimes feel this. There's a social anxiety that will occur when you then try to, forward and try to make other relationships. You feel that you don't have the experience. You don't have the mindset. You feel weak or meek or not ready for a pronounced period of time. And it's because you need to exercise that independence, that autonomy, being decisive, calling the shots for yourself, having your decisions respected, and not being felt that you can't do things for yourself. So it's really a taking away of the very things that you need to do for yourself. Whether it's doing your own housework or paying your own bills or, opening your own car door, or other little things just on a daily basis where you need to be able to do this, because otherwise your decision-making ability, your connection to your prefrontal lobe will atrophy. You will become feeling that you cannot be independent. It scares you to be alone. You feel that you are, you don't know how to take care of yourself, that you need growth in this area. So if you feel that way, that's actually a very positive acknowledgement, because you're then realizing that this is the direction, this is where I need to exercise myself. I need to become decisive. I need to know how to look out for myself. I need to know how to make my own judgments for myself, and really take what they say with a grain of salt. Do not be minimized. Do not be infantilized. Be very careful of this very dangerous manipulation technique of those who are narcissistic or psychopathic, because they know once they're able to get you into that infantilized state, they are in control. And remember, the narcissist and the psychopath have an insatiable need to be the one in control, to be the one calling the shots, to be the one having power over others. And you don't want to find yourself in that position if you don't have to. And if you have found yourself in that position, say adios, sayonara, here's my resignation, here's my pink slip. I am moving on. I'm moving on up to a more responsible position, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it so. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Thank you so much for your viewership, your comments, and your inquiries.